Hello everyone, welcome to another little vlog stroke haul vid. I have been boot fairing over the last couple of weeks, though I haven't had the greatest of success considering the first weekend I actually went round a good couple of boot fairs that were really busy and found virtually nothing. They were the odd junker, which was not even worth picking up. They were so bad that they weren't even any good really for spare parts. The only one transformer I did pick up that week was I did manage to find a deluxe Ravage from the movie line, and he's all complete and in good nick. So I suppose you class that as a reasonably successful find. Yeah, quite pleased with him. Quite a nice deluxe figure. Very different obviously than the other Transformers of the movie line in the fact that he's a beast mode rather than the usual robot mode to a vehicle, which most of that line is, of course. But yeah, quite a nice little figure in his own right. So, and Ravage has always been a bit of a favourite of mine anyway, going back to the G1 cassette line. So that's pretty much the only haul I had that week. I did have a kind of haul. It's nothing to do with boot fair. I actually popped in with my other half to a charity shop, and I just sort of nosing around, and I actually came across a really old, from 1985. They call it an adventure game book, and as you can see, it's a G1 style book with the Dinobots. Pretty good. Quite a fun little thing. It's not the most complicated book. It's quite basic with some basic black and white drawings involving actually Ravage and Laserbeak and the Dinobots. And obviously you have to play through and choose which option to progress through the book. But yeah, not bad. And it only cost 90p, and it's well worth picking up. If you come across any of these, they're well worth picking up just for the little novelty value. And of course it does take you straight back to the fact that this was right back at the almost like the very beginning of G1, being at 1985, and probably that must have been the year the Dinobots actually came out. So yeah, well worth picking up. There is another one in the series, so I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. Peril from the Stars, I think it's called. But this is Dinobot War, if you're interested. But yeah, well worth picking up, and quite a nice little find just to find sitting in a shelf in a charity shop. Now the other weird thing that happened, it's about a week ago, well, a week or two ago. I'm actually by trade, I'm a carpenter and joiner, so I'm working on building sites. And a guy who's in charge of, like all of us chippies and that, sort of, he takes us around, shows us the job, and he's got a black hard hat, and I hadn't noticed at all because obviously I'm focused on doing my job. But he came up and was talking to me, and the light caught his hat right, and in the light, part of it is sort of like normally sort of like a matte finish on the plastic, but in the light, part of it was shiny, and I looked, and I thought at first my mind was playing tricks with me, and I could see a Decepticon logo on his hard hat, and I thought, no, surely not. And anyway, I'd spoken to him and he'd gone, so I thought, oh well, next time I see him I'll have another look and see if I saw what I think I saw. And I got talking to him the next time he came round to see how I'd been getting on with my job, and I mentioned it, and the whole sort of reason he's got the logo on his hard hat, which I wasn't seeing things, was because his wife works dealing with like the stickers you put on plastics on vehicles and stuff like that. And she sort of works at a firm that manufactures them. And he's a big movie fan, and he said anything to do with like 80s cartoons, he loves all that sort of thing, Transformers, Thundercats. And he said if I look around the site I'll probably find some other logos what he's put on odd bits. And he actually said, "You get me some stickers," which he did, and I got a selection. They don't look anything fantastic as they are, but as you can see, there's some ginormous Autobot logos, and although they don't look that great there, that's because obviously it's got the backing paper on. So if I peel that forward, you'll see these ones bright orange, but there's loads of different ones he's given me. There's some blue ones, Decepticon and Autobot, large blue ones, Decepticon and Autobot, all kinds of bits. Where he found, found me some what his wife had printed off, some more Decepticon ones. They're in green, but I must admit my favourite bunch is this lot, the Autobot and Decepticons, but of course they're in purple, so they're the proper ones for the Decepticons. And even, again, like the odd ginormous green one, ginormous red, I think that one is, in the Autobot, so the, near to the right colours anyway. But, yeah, he got me those ones, so I'm probably going to end up putting some on my van for work. But it is the most bizarre thing to be walking around a site where he's handed out other odd ones to different guys who are working there, and all I can see all day is Decepticon and Autobot logos on either people's hard hats, and I think we've even got one on the forklift running around site, so it actually does look like a huge transformer is lifting all the materials around site, which is hilarious to look at. I don't know what the hire company is going to think of when they get it back, but never mind. Anyway, that was a weird sort of bit of a haul. I didn't have to pay nothing for him, he just actually ran me out some. But anyway, yeah, a surreal sort of moment in my working life anyway. I did go and do some boot fairs this week. The weather's been horrendous, so the first one I went to, it started to hammer down with rain about 5 minutes after I got there, and it was completely, pretty much a washout. Everyone covered up their stuff and you couldn't hardly see what they had, or they literally, by the time I'd walked around it, they were starting to pack up anyway, so that was a bit of a shame, and I thought, great, that's going to be pretty much all I'm going to sort of see today. But there was another boot fair which is quite a way further, so I thought, well, maybe the weather's a little bit different there, and I thought it was worth a run to go and see if it was any better. And again, people were probably panicked again with the weather report and seeing what the weather was doing over sort of in the area where I live, and it was a lot smaller than it normally was, so I thought, again, I'm not going to have much luck. Well, anyway, I went round the stalls, only a couple of rows of them, and I came across an odd, again, one of these sort of, I think it's Attackix figures, something like that, but it's a larger one of a Mega Sentinel, which I assume is supposed to be something like, I'm trying to think of his name now. It's not so much a Prime figure, although he's styled a little bit like it on his chest. More like a Mega Supreme, I think, with a claw type hand. But, just a fun little thing picked up. And he was, again, like next to nothing anyway. So, I think it was about 20p or something they wanted for him. And on the same stall, I noticed a little figure laying there. And I found Metroplex's Minicon. Drill bit or something like that, I think it is. He's in perfect nick. I don't actually have the Metroplex figure, so if I come across him, again, that's helped complete that figure, because he'll probably be missing if I find Metroplex at a boot fair. And I was sort of thinking, well, that's pretty much the last stall anyway, out of all the ones at this boot fair. And I was sort of just glancing around, and I noticed in the vehicle behind them, I thought, oh, looks like a Transformers box. So I sort of had another little sort of look round behind the guy who's sold me these bits, and lo and behold, I actually found a box Transformer. Now, it's not an original, and it's a little bit ironic because it was actually saying I was looking for to complete another figure, but it's actually a reissue which is different from the original figure. But I actually found, and it made my day, believe me, because I thought And as I say, I thought the day was going to be a complete sort of washout and complete waste of time. I actually found a boxed Powmaster Prime with the Apex armour, all complete. Actually was unopened. I've obviously hence opened it and give it a good check over and transformed it and had the stickers and that put on. But I actually got him and he's absolutely great. The box is a little bit tatty, but the figure was complete. The stickers hadn't been applied. He hadn't actually been opened. The guy had said he brought it as a investment, but he'd obviously sort of given up on the idea that this was ever going to make him any money. And I got this for the grand total of £10. It's for a brand new, effectively unopened Powmaster Prime. And I don't know if I'll ever review it, because I know Luke Action Jackman has done the review. There are some quite significant differences. Now I've actually got my hands on the actual figure. There are some quite significant differences from the original, which I do have. The calf section's got a lot more metal to it than the original. Obviously the fists going in on the arms. And although, you know, the Apex armour isn't the greatest thing, I kind of like it, and it will give me the advantage now that I can display both Powmaster Primes in both modes now, when I eventually get around to getting somewhere I can actually display my Transformers and other collectibles. But yeah, as you can imagine, really chuffed to find that for £10, considering how much it would go for if you had to get it over the internet. But yeah, so that's my haul up to now. As for reviews and that, Luke was actually asking me the other day about that. Don't know quite what I'm going to review next. I might go for something more modern, maybe something I've even picked up at the boot fair, or I might go G1, and I don't know. I know I've got to get around to doing a Jetfire one, but he's obviously going to be a longer review, so I've got to take a bit of time with him. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a little update and show you what I've picked up, and sort of like show you the weird story of the stickers. But yeah, that's about all for now. Thank you for everybody who's recently subscribed. I haven't got your names to hand, and I'm terrible at doing that, but I think to mention it without remembering to look everybody's up. But I always thank you in person by putting a thank you on your comments page. But yeah, that's about it. So I shall probably see you again for another review, and thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you again.